and potentially dangerous. There's something we all have called lymphocytes, such as T cells, B cells, and macrophages. And they can detect gene-coded chemical features on the surface of a cell that signify self or non-self and respond accordingly. Non-cell markers termed antigens normally trigger an immune response. When you start studying the Bible, or rather, when you start studying the body, you start to agree with the Bible when it says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. I want to encourage you to study your bodies. You know, sometimes we say, well, that belongs to the doctors. That's not actually true. David himself in Hebrew culture, they understood their frames, they understood their bodies, they understood how it worked. We have so many beautiful little children here, and I want to encourage our parents, help them to understand, this is my nose, this is what it does. These are my ears, this is what it does. You know, this is my mouth, this is what it does. And the more that we begin understanding our bodies, we will start knowing what are the best ways to take care of it. Because the whole title of our series is Take Charge of Your Health. And so because of that, we want to do everything we can to take charge of our health and realize that God is right. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm going to show you a quick little video here, and I want you to watch this. This is a video of an actual microscopic view of a virus that enters within the bloodstream, and under the microscope, it's going to show our immune system going at work. Now, I want you to think about this. When you and I are awake, when we're sitting right now, like in this room, as well as when we are asleep at night, your body is at work. And I want you to see what your body is doing when things start to come in our system that doesn't belong there. Take a look at this. This is literally what's happening under a microscope in yours and my body right now. Little foreign invaders come into our system, and macrophages, which is a part of our immune system, they're going around tagging those things, and look at how it's literally chasing it. And it actually chases it, catches it, quarantines it, and then destroys it. This is happening inside of your body and my body every day. And it's like we're not even aware of it. It's like our bodies, again, we are truly fearfully and wonderfully made. And so it is that when we watch these things take place, this is your mighty army working within. This is why I encourage individuals, study the different systems of your body. Learn how to take care of it. You don't need to go to medical school for this, okay? You can actually learn, what is my musculoskeletal system? What are the best ways to take care of it? What's my nervous system? What's the best ways to take care of it? What is my immune system? What are the best ways to take care of it? The more that you understand these things, you will find that it's very important that you will learn how to take care of your body. I remember one time when my father was in the hospital and he was battling with diabetes type 2. And it was pretty advanced and it was causing these problems. And I remember that my father asked me to get him a lemonade. And so I was like, are you sure, Dad, you want to do that? And he was like, yeah, I want a lemonade. And so I got him his lemonade. And as he took the lemonade, he started to take some sips on it. Now, the nurse came inside the room. And when the nurse came inside the room, she saw my father sipping on his lemonade. And so the nurse goes to my dad and she's like, Mr. Lemon, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know, she starts getting on my dad because he's sipping on his lemonade as a diabetic. Well, here it is that she took away his lemonade and then she said, now here's your meal. And she gave him this fat-filled piece of beef and just put it on the plate. And she gave it to him and it's like, okay, here's your meal with white rice. And so you know what I ended up doing? I said to that nurse, I said, excuse me, I said, can I talk to you outside? And then I took her outside and I said, listen, you just got on my dad and told him that he can't sip on his diet lemonade. But yet you just filled a fat-laden piece of meat with white rice in front of my father. Those things are going to shoot his sugar up way more than this diet lemonade ever would. And she said, well, you need to get a dietitian in. I said, get your dietitian. And then the dietitian comes down. And then I said, excuse me, I said, did you prescribe this for my father? And she was like, well, yes, I did. And I said, well, why did you do that? I said, it is proven that animal fat is one of the great causes for insulin resistance. And I said, white rice. And she says, white rice is worse because white rice is a simple sugar and it breaks down and can cause the sugar to spike up. Now, she finished my sentence. And so when she said that to me, I'm like, miss, if you know this, why are you serving this to him? Why didn't you give him brown rice? And you know what she said? He didn't ask. And I was like, you know what, you guys are something else. And so what is my point? My point is you need to take charge of your health. You need to know what your body needs. You need to know what are the best things for your body to take care of your body, because sometimes individuals, whether they have poor interest or good interest, they may not know what is best for you and I. Even though they have the letters behind their name, they may not necessarily know the best things for you and I when it comes to taking care of ourselves. So when it comes to your immune system, I'm very serious about this. Learn your bodies. There's lots and lots of books out there that you can learn. What is my immune system? What are the things that best takes care of it? What is my musculoskeletal system? What's the best ways to take care of it? What's one of the number one vitamins you want for your nervous system?
A or E?
What's one of the number one vitamins that you want to make sure you are consuming if you want to have a healthy nervous system? That is correct. Very good. Now you might have been guessing, I don't know. But okay, you knew. Good. There you go, sis. High five from a distance. So it's like literally B vitamins is what you want to have for a healthy nervous system. So if you know you're going through neurodegenerative diseases, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and things of that nature, you definitely want to make sure you're getting more B vitamins in your diet. Now let's go musculoskeletal. If it's your musculoskeletal system, what's one of the minerals you're going to think of most when you think of the musculoskeletal system? Calcium, right? You want to definitely make sure you're getting some good calcium, but you also want to make sure you're getting in some good vitamin D, because vitamin D helps with calcium absorption, right? So again, the idea is the more that you understand your systems, if you want to have a healthy digestive system, what is it that you are going to need?
Fiber.
Say it again. Fiber. Exactly. There you go. That's it. You start thinking that way. Now, if you want a healthy immune system, what's some of the number one food groups you're going to need?
Citrus.
You're going to need to make sure you're getting a lot of what's called antioxidants. You're going to make sure you want to get a lot of antioxidant foods. So again, these are the things that after time you can start educating yourself and you can learn your systems. So again, you can understand how to take care of yourself. When we're talking about the immune system, remember there are 4 enemies of the immune system: bacteria, virus, fungus, and parasites. These are the things that we want to be mindful of making sure they do not enter within our system and start to wreak havoc. Bacteria, virus, fungus, and parasites. You want to make sure that you are being mindful of these things. There's something that is called, we kind of gave it a nickname, it's called the fat cat. I don't know if you ever heard of the fat cat. These are things that can bind the immune system. It's called the fat cat. Take a look at this. This is the fat cat. So when you think of the fat cat, F stands for fatty and highly processed foods. All right? A is for anxiety and stress. T stands for toxicity. C stands for caffeine. A stands for alcohol, and T stands for tobacco. When you want to have a healthy immune system, you need to watch out for the fat cat. You know, when I left the house to come here, it kind of hurt me a little bit. I'm not here to damage anybody's business. God knows. I believe in business ownership. You know, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I firmly advocate entrepreneurship and people doing well for themselves. I think that's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, there are some businesses that may be thriving in this immediate area here that unfortunately their thriving is going to be to a lot of people's hurt. They don't mean it. At least I want to believe that. But I'm talking about those golden arches. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say the golden arches?
Yeah.
Right? McDonald's and Burger King and Subways and KFC. Somebody said KFC stands for killing folks continually. And you know, and it's just, you know, I mean, like you just got to think it through, family. It's like a lot of these places are serving us highly processed foods. And I understand that we pour hundreds of thousands of dollars into these places every single month. And again, I'm not here to hurt these people as far as their businesses, but I need them to understand that as long as their businesses are thriving, so will the hospitals, so will the dialysis centers, and so will a lot of other medical facilities because those foods are suppressing our immune system. It's making it terribly easy for us to get sick. Anxiety and stress, we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, our study is going to be on diet and the mind. We're going to get into mental health tomorrow. All right. That's an area where I got some training and certifications in it, and I'm really glad to do some mental health coaching with individuals. We got to talk about how to get a handle on our stress. One of the things that I thought was interesting was caffeine. What a debate. It seems like there's always one article showing caffeine is really bad for us. And then there's another article that says coffee is great for us. And it gets kind of confusing. The one thing I want you to remember is this. Similar to the cattle industry, when you start talking bad about the dangers of beef and milk, you have to understand it's hurting an industry. And you're talking about a multi-million, if not multi-billion-dollar industry. And so, of course, they're going to hire their scientists and so on to say something good about their food groups. But the truth is, it's the same for coffee. Coffee is really not our friend. All right. Even though we can find articles out there that might say, oh, yeah, coffee's good for you, you got to really check those articles. You got to vet them. But let me give you an idea of how caffeine from our coffee can actually play a role in suppressing the immune system. Caffeine has also been reported to suppress human lymphocyte function as indicated by reduced T cell proliferation. Now, T cells, that's what fights off cancer for you and I. So you really don't want to see your T cells become compromised. But it says caffeine has also been reported to suppress human lymphocyte function as indicated by reduced T cell proliferation and impaired production of Th1 and Th2. Studies also indicate that caffeine suppresses antibody production. So one of the reasons why we talk about watch out for the fat cat is because, again, if we go back to what the fat cat represents, most of what's on the screen are things that a lot of people who are even minutely interested in health, we already know it's not good for us. Fatty, highly processed foods, we already know that. Anxiety and stress, we already know that. Toxicity, we know that. Alcohol, tobacco, we know that. But when it comes to caffeine, there's always like this debate of is it good, is it bad? No, actually, caffeine is not good for us either when we're focusing on our immunity. This is why last night we talked about God's plan. When we talked about getting on God's plan, we talked about having more godly trust. Why? Because that helps relieve stress. Getting more open air. Why? Because that's one of the ways that our blood gets purified. Getting more daily exercise. Why? Because that strengthens our cells. Getting more sunshine. Why? Because that promotes more gene regulation. Getting proper rest, because that's how our bodies repair themselves. Getting lots of water, that is what keeps us functioning. Always being temperate or self-controlled, that's how we protect ourselves from harm. And then eating food that is nutritious, because food is our medicine. If you really want to make sure that going throughout this fall and winter season, we have strong immune systems, I am highly recommending that we get on God's plan. The more that we start following this beautiful acronym of godly trust, open air, daily exercise, sunshine, proper rest, lots of water, always temperate and nutrition, the more that we put this into practice, you're going to be amazed at what this will do for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through right now. The Bible has taught these principles through and through. That's where they originate. But I'm grateful that science is also letting us know that what God created in the beginning of time is also a benefit to us today. I don't know if you noticed, but notice that all of these are in the book of Genesis, between Genesis 1 and 2. That means that this is in the creation story. So every time God says it was good, every time God would say, make the first day, the second day, the third day, and then he would say it was good. That word good is a Hebrew word, T-O-W-B, ta'ub. And when you look at that word, ta'ub, what that word means is beneficial. So when God made sunlight, he said it was good because he knew it was going to be beneficial. When God made the water, he knew that it was good because it was going to be beneficial. You understand that? So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through God's plan. And we're going to see how though science is late, science is also showing that God was right all along. And this is something where I like giving glory back to God. You know, we celebrate so many thought leaders today in the world of science, not realizing God is the greatest scientist. The Bible is the greatest science book. God has already provided these things for mankind, and now science is trying to catch up on what God has already said. So let's talk about trusting God. What impact does that have on our immune system? How does having more godly trust, more trust in God, how does that build up our immune system? The Bible lets us know something that's very powerful. It's found in Isaiah 26 in verse 3. It says, thou will keep him in perfect peace. What kind of peace? It says, thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts thee. The more that we learn to trust God is the more that our minds stay in a state of peace. As I asked you the other night, have you ever met somebody who said, I am peacefully stressed out? You ever met somebody like that? Like, that don't even make sense. That's a complete oxymoron, right? That's a double, how can you be peacefully stressed out at the same time? They just don't go together. And so it is that the more peace we have is the less stress we have. And now watch this. Did you know that in one study, they showed the results were clear that a study after study showed the same thing. Short-term stress would temporarily increase the ability of the immune system to fight, but chronic long-term stress suppress the immune system. So it's all right if we have a moment of stress because of something that happens. As I mentioned to you all, I live in California. I live in the mountains in California, Northern California. And it is not an unusual thing for me to come outside on my property and I might see a black bear or a brown bear. And when you see those bears, my thing is simple. If I see that bear, it's a stress impact, flight or fight. That's what's going to hit me, right? And what's that going to make me do? That's going to make me jump up and take off and go to a place of safety. God did that. That was the way we were made. Okay, we're supposed to have a stress response. There are certain stress responses that are positive and that are good. But let's say the bear is gone. Let's say I invest in some dogs and all this other stuff. It's fine now. But every single day, every single week, every single month, and every single day in my house, and my heart rate is just going because I'm like, what if we see another bear out there? I don't know if we'll ever see another bear again. If I just stay in that place of stress, then that's when it's going to start having a negative impact on me. And so it is with you and I. So it's all right if you have a moment of stress. But what's very important is that you don't not having day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. That's the case. We got to do something about that. We need to address that thing and tackle it head on. I'm going to show you depression, anxiety, and things of that nature. I'm going to show you some beautiful things that you can do in diet and lifestyle remedies that are going to be able to help you. Fresh air. Can't say enough about it. The importance of getting pure, fresh air has never been more important today. The fresh air that we're seeing in this picture here looks wonderful compared to this picture here. This picture at the bottom is a crowded place. That looks like where I grew up in New York City. And, it's like the more that you're in crowded areas, lots of cars, lots of people, lots of machinery and things of that nature, this is where our air can be compromised. Take a look at this and look at how it affects the immune system. Inhaled particulates from environmental pollutants accumulate in macrophages in lung-associated lymph nodes over years, compromising immune surveillance via direct effects on immune cell function and lymphoid architecture. The more that we are in areas where the air quality is poor, it literally can affect our immune systems. Okay. However, T cells take up sugar and convert it to energy in a process called metabolism. Oxygen is essential for powering cellular metabolism and generating the large amounts of energy needed to make the millions of protein molecules required by each cell. So the more we're surrounded by pure, fresh air, is the more that it benefits our immune system because look, the more oxygen right here. Here's my other, whoops. Let me go back. Right here. So watch. It says oxygen is essential for powering cellular metabolism and generating the large amounts of energy needed to make the millions of protein molecules required by each cell. So the more oxygen that we're getting in, this is what actually plays a role in contributing to build up our immune systems. Now, this is why, again, remember I told you, if you're not in an area where there's a lot of pure, fresh air, bring the pure, fresh air into your house. Bring some plants into your home. Bring plants inside of your home that can help you get your pure, fresh air. And this also plays a role. And that's why, again, if you want a healthy immune system, practice deep breathing. Remember, we talked about that. 4, 7, 8. In through the nose, 4 seconds. Hold it for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly for 8 seconds. And you will find that the more you do that deep breathing, where you're getting in pure, fresh oxygen, it's actually helping to build up and strengthen your immune system. Exercise. Can't say enough about it. When we think about getting in our exercise family, not only does exercise get the immune cells moving throughout the body during activity, but it also promotes a lasting presence of these immune cells for up to 3 hours after exercise is completed. This provides extra time for the immune cells to identify unwanted intruders and keep you from getting sick. This is why your heart is already working all day, every day. All your heart needs is a little boost for 30 minutes a day. Out of a 24-hour period, your heart rate needs 30 minutes of a boost. Give it something that makes it work a little harder. Your heart actually wants that. It makes you live better, and it makes you stronger. I had one man, he walks with a walker. So this was his pace, right? So that brother would walk like this. And he would do that. So I showed him how to do a HIIT routine. How many of you know what HIIT is? One hand. HIIT. H-I-I-T. HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. Let me show you how a HIIT goes. This is HIIT right here. If you did a workout, what you would do is you would do a workout where you would go like this. This is HIIT. You would go, okay, for 60 seconds, you would go like this. And then when you get to 57, 58, 59, 60, then you're going to do this for 30 seconds. And then when you do this and you go 27, 28, 29, 30, then you go back to that original pace and you do another 60 seconds. And then when you get to 58, 59, 60, then you just go again. That's literally what HIIT is. It's going at one pace for a period of time, and just a short period of time, you're going to put a little more energy into it. So I'm going back to this man. So he did a workout. This is a true story. The brother had a walker. He did his workout like this. He was going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when he got to 60 seconds, he did this. He went 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. And then he went. And he just did that for 30 seconds. And then he went back to his regular pace. So the good news about HIIT is that you could do it at your pace. There's no like one way of doing it. But here's the deal. What the science has shown is after doing a HIIT routine, after doing an exercise routine where you kind of get your heart rate up, look at what it says here. It also promotes a lasting presence of these immune cells for up to 3 hours after you exercise. When you give your heart a little bit of a push, 30 minutes, family, when you give your heart that push, it starts to work with your cellular system, your white blood cells, your immune system. It starts to build up your immune system in such a way, it activates the immune system that even when you finish working out, your immune system is like a bunch of soldiers with guns in their hands walking around looking for foreign invaders in your body. Cancer cells, viruses, parasites. And when it identifies them, it takes them out. I just literally watched a study today where they showed that if an individual gets 30 minutes of exercise per day, they have over 60% decrease of getting any of the metabolic cancers. When you think of metabolic cancers, pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, you're talking about some pretty serious cancers that unfortunately claim the lives of many people. Bladder cancer, cervical cancer. It literally, if you get 30 minutes of exercise, they even found that even if you get diagnosed with cancer, there's a 30% increase of recovery if you do 30 minutes of exercising in a day. And so for so many reasons, we have motivation. Get your exercise in. If you don't have an exercise routine, simple. Take 5 to 10 minutes and do a warm-up, stretch. Then do your workout for 25 to 45 minutes. That's where you do your cardio, get your strength training in. Always cool down. And then be intentional to execute perfect posture. I showed you this earlier in the week. I'm just showing it to you again. This is something very simple that you and I can do, family, but I'm begging you, don't allow your age and don't allow your circumstances to cause you to say, I can't do any working out. Yes, you can. Do it according to your age. I'm not asking you to do a bunch of cartwheels. Okay, I get that. Some of us may not be able to do that, but you can do something. Like I told you, remember the man with the walking? You can do something. And the key is to start moving around. It's going to help you in big ways. When we talk about sunlight, vitamin D is essential for bone health as well as muscle and nerve functions. Vitamin D also helps the immune system fight off bacteria and viruses. So let me add something else. Remember I told you about getting your labs when you get your annuals? How many of you right now get your vitamin D checked? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a good number, but that's not enough compared to how many people we got here. I want to encourage you, get your vitamin D checked. Get your vitamin D checked. You want to know where your vitamin D is. And so that way, because again, vitamin D is very essential. It's a very important vitamin or hormone that all of us need. And so make sure that you're getting in your vitamin D. Now, during this time of the year especially, we're probably not going to be out in the sun much, are we? Right? We're probably not going to be out in the sun much at all. So because of that, I want to show you something here. It's not untrue that vitamin C and vitamin D actually can help to support the function of your immune system. Vitamin C enhances the body's B lymphocyte or B cells production and stops the T cells from deteriorating. Both of these are very important immune cells that are basically tasked with identifying and fighting bacteria and viruses. Vitamin D helps your body to create an antimicrobial peptide called cathelicidin, which stops bacteria, microbes, and viruses and regulates the function of your body's T cells. So a lot of this shows that for so many reasons, you want to get in your vitamin D and you want to get in your vitamin C, all right? When we think about how much sunlight do you need, if you're light skinned, which is typically above caramel complexion, 20 to 30 minutes a day. If you're dark skinned, which is darker than a caramel complexion, you're going to need 45 to 60 minutes. You're going to have to stay in the sunlight longer because we have something called melanin. It works like a filter. And so it takes longer for us to get those benefits from the rays of the sun. You don't put on sunscreen at this time that you're getting sun exposure. And you just need your face, your neck, and your arms exposed. And watch out for sunburn. These are things that you just want to keep in mind when you think about getting healthy sun exposure, right? Sunlight exposure. Now, the truth of the matter is, a lot of us do not get enough vitamin D. When you get for those of you who haven't been getting your blood work, when you get tested, you're probably gonna see your vitamin D levels are pretty low, all right? Any of us who said we get our vitamin D checked, what were your numbers looking like? Were they considered low or were they considered normal? They were normal? Did they tell you what normal was?
30.
But did they tell you what your number was?
Yes.
What, 34? Yeah, so go ahead, Annie. Say again?
My vitamin
D.
is one.
Your vitamin D was 100?
That's after some.
Okay, I was about to say that's after supplementing. There is a such thing as vitamin D toxicity. You want to watch out for that. 120 is where we start getting into toxicity. So you want to take a step back. 100's getting kind of close. So you may not, you don't want to get that high necessarily. But yeah, go ahead, Ann. Uh-huh.
My doctor told me that they may expose recently that the maximum right now for vitamin is 200.
Is 200?
Yeah, they.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that. Yeah, the last research that I did was 120. You didn't want your vitamin D to be above 120. But nevertheless, what would be encouraged is just, again, supplementation is very important. This is one that you can get. If you're not taking a vitamin D supplement, this is an excellent one. This is Bluebonnet. It actually has a nice flavor to it. It's lemon balm. You can get it right on Amazon. It is very inexpensive. And this thing will last you forever. One drop is 5,000 international units. One drop, okay? I took my numbers and my first number was 35 nanograms, which is considered normal. However, most lifestyle medicine practitioners, they will let you know 30s are too low. It's considered low normal. They want to see it get closer to the 60s or higher. That's what, well, the minimum would be 60 in lifestyle medicine. They don't want to see it go any lower than 60. And again, watch out for vitamin D toxicity. So I took this one. I took it for about 3 months. And after I took it for 3 months, then my numbers went up to 94 nanograms. And so I know that my body was absorbing this very well. So again, I recommend it. If you are not taking a vitamin D supplement, I would highly recommend taking this one. They also have these in smaller amounts. So it doesn't have to be 5,000 international units. They have them in 3 and they have them in 1. Okay? Yes, sir.
Nature Path that was sent during COVID. And wanted us, if you got COVID, go up to taking 30,000 units in the morning, that at night, and to do it for a week.
Right. Yep.
And he really wanted this at 150 for a short time.
Well, there you go. Yes. So that's usually given to people whose vitamin D levels are already low. So if their vitamin D levels are already low, they're going to dose you really high. And exactly what you said, it's going to usually be about a week. And they're going to have you take about 30,000, 50,000 or more in, almost daily or what have you. Yes, my sister.
Works better than K2, is that true?
That's a fact. So you do need, vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. Anytime you hear the word fat soluble, that means you have to have fats with it. So you got to have some type of food group or something with it. So this is why you'll often see vitamin D supplements need to be combined with vitamin K. It helps it with absorption. Anytime you see something that says water soluble, you don't need any foods with it. You don't need any fats whatsoever. So vitamin C, as an example, is water soluble. You can take vitamin C empty stomach. You don't have to eat anything. Vitamin D, if you want the benefits, you need to have some other things mixed with it for it to be properly absorbed. So yes, vitamin K is going to be very important. K2, that's exactly right. When it comes to getting good sleep, family, if you want to get yourself sick, keep skipping sleep. It's like, it's a very serious thing. If there's one thing that your body needs, beloved, is rest. And because of that, there's a lot that has to be said on the subject of proper rest. The first few hours of sleep are the deepest, one doctor said. It's during this time that the body performs tissue growth and repair allowing healing and restoration to occur. It's also the time when the brain clears away stuff it doesn't need, making room for the stuff it does need. Now, before I go into this, this is all coming from heart.org. There is something, how many of us have members in our family that Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, any of those things? Anybody have members of your family that go through this stuff? Yeah. So one of the things that is a contributor to, it's called neurodegenerative diseases. All right, neurodegenerative disease. That's what Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, they're all in the neurodegenerative disease family. There is something that builds up in yours and my brain pretty much daily. It's called beta amyloid plaque buildup. That's the stuff that this is talking about. So when the article says here, it says it's also the time when the brain clears away what? Stuff. That stuff has a name. It's called beta amyloid plaque buildup. Yours and my body is so fearfully and wonderfully made. We are so beautifully made by an intelligent creator that God knows that we live in a toxic world. And as a result of that, there's things that our body breathes in and takes in and absorbs every single day. When we get sleep, the body releases chemicals that helps wash away that beta amyloid plaque buildup. But do you know the highest secretion of it is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.? And that's why it's imperative that we get good sleep. The more we get sleep is the more the release is made to wash away that stuff, okay? Most of the research agrees the greatest amount of healing takes place between 10 and 2. And so on average, you want to try to be in bed asleep by 10 o'clock. And then you obviously let your rest go out throughout the night. Because again, look at what it says here. During this time, the body performs tissue growth and repair and allows healing and restoration to occur. So, we all need to repair. Now, as we get older, this stuff starts getting more serious, okay? It starts getting more serious because the body generally gets a little weaker. So because of that, we need to start prioritizing our sleep more, right? Getting that good, proper rest. Continuing with this thought, Olson MD says, yes, lack of sleep can affect your immune system. Studies show that people who don't get quality sleep or enough sleep are more likely to get sick after being exposed to a virus, such as a common cold virus. Lack of sleep can also affect how fast you recover if you do get sick. So when we think about how much sleep do we all need to get, there's children in this room, there's young adults, etc. How much sleep do we all need? Take a look at the chart. Find yourself on the chart. Find yourself on the chart. Now, the term mature adults is another way of saying senior citizens. All right? So you can put senior citizen there instead of mature adult. But this is how much sleep we all need to get. This is how much sleep our children need to get. All right? Some of you have children that are bubbling over with energy. And that is such a beautiful thing. Well, guess what? They need to get some sleep. Because you got to make sure that they're rebuilding from all that energy that they were exerting throughout the day. All right? So it's very, very important that we make sure that our gang gets good rest. Each and every one of us. When it comes to drinking water, not enough can be said about it. We're a malnourished generation. We are a dehydrated generation. A lot of us do not drink enough water. Your brain is over 70% water. Your muscles are your skeleton is over 60% water. We have a lot of water that our body requires of us every single day. So take a look at this. When we think about pure water, how does that affect us? Drinking water can help improve the overall immunity of your body. What's the first thing that they do when you get admitted into a hospital? They put IV in. What are they putting inside of you? And what is the saline doing? hydrating. Yeah, but I mean, it's primarily it's making sure that the body is well hydrated so that the medications and everything that they put inside of us will be able to flow through and do its job seamlessly. So again, the idea is to stay hydrated. Staying hydrated helps your body naturally eliminate the bacteria and toxins that cause infection. With the help of water, oxygen and nutrients are distributed throughout the body, and waste material is flushed out from the body. Look at how important water is. It doesn't even make sense to take a bunch of supplements if you're not drinking a lot of water. You understand that? I know a lot of people that do that. You open up their cupboards and it's a big supplement factory. And it's like, okay, that's very impressive, but how much water are you drinking? Because if you're not drinking enough water, your supplements are not going to do their job half as much as you want them to. And so sometimes we're deceiving ourselves. That's why I keep going back to supplement. It is to work in addition to the lifestyle. Everything is always going to be lifestyle. And I say this very respectfully. I'm not concerned with how much you know. I'm concerned with how much you're doing what you know. You find that? Because some of us, we kind of get off showing people that we know everything, right? Like, oh yeah, I know that. I know that. Oh yeah, I know that too. I'm like, congratulations. I'm glad you know everything. Now what I want to know is how much of it are you doing? Are you doing it every day? Because if you're not doing it, family, we're losing. Blessings, according to the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 22, blessed are the doers of the word, not the hearers. So it's not about how much we hear, it's not how much we know, it's about how much are you doing it. Make sense? Very good. This is how much you need to drink. How much water do we need to drink? Half of your body weight in fluid ounces. That's how much water you should be drinking. And I like, isn't this better than 8 glasses of water? We've been hearing 8 glasses of water forever. How you gonna tell a 400-pound man to drink 8 glasses of water? That brother needs way more water. How you gonna tell one of these precious little children walking around, they need to drink 8 glasses of water? That's too much water. So what's the rule? It's not about how many glasses, it's about what's your body weight. Whatever your body weight is, we're gonna divide that in half. That's how many fluid ounces you're going to need to drink in a given day. That's what's going to help you out. Now, as a bonus, I also want to recommend hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy is wonderful. Here's something we all can do tonight to boost our immune system. All right. Here's something we can do tonight to boost our immune system. This is a hot and cold shower. So let's talk about it. The procedure is simple and easy to remember. Just think 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 times, 333. 3 minutes hot, followed by 30 seconds cold, repeated 3 times. Now, if anybody is battling with arrhythmias, please don't do this. Let me repeat that. If anybody in this room is battling with arrhythmias, if you're battling with atrial fibrillation or atrial flutters or anything like that, please don't do that because the water can shock you and it can shock the heart into an activity that it might take your heart some time to regulate and come back down. There are some people who have done hot and cold showers and the cold is going to shock you because, you know, it's going to make you hit the high note. You're going to go, oh, you know, you're going to hit that high note real quick, right? But for some individuals, that can, you know, cause some problems. So if you have arrhythmias or anything like that, go ahead and skip this part. But if you don't have those battles tonight, go into your shower. Now, if you are type 2 diabetic and you're battling with some neuropathy, do not do this. The reason is because you may not properly measure how hot the water is. We've had individuals that will have the water on hot and they'll say, I feel fine. And the water's literally scalding them. And they're not feeling it. You understand that? So again, if you're battling with type 2 diabetes, you want to skip this. But if you're not battling with arrhythmias, you're not battling with type 2 diabetes, I'm going to encourage you, do it as hot as you can to tolerance for 3 minutes. After the 3 minutes, then turn the hot off and just the cold for 30 seconds. And then after 30 seconds, you're gonna be like 27, 28, 29, 30, and then you can turn the hot back on again. Now, you do that 3 times. Family, if any of you have problems going to sleep, do 3 minutes hot, 30-second cold 3 times, go right to bed. I bet you sleep like a baby. It works like a sedative. It works almost like a sedative. It really calms you down from a nervous system standpoint. So try it tonight, especially for those of us battling with, going to bed and staying asleep. Try it. 3 minutes hot, 30-second cold, 3 times. Right after that, go to bed and see if you sleep pretty well tonight. By simply alternating the faucets, you can boost your immune system, increase metabolism. Hey, anybody who wants to lose weight, one of the ways to lose weight is to increase the metabolism. One of the reasons we gain weight is because the metabolism starts slowing down. So notice hot and colds. It enlivens healthy circulation of the blood and the lymph nodes and promotes detoxification. This is basically how it works. Heat causes dilation or enlargement of the blood vessels, and then the cold constricts it. Whoops, that was too quick. So let's do that again. So the more that you see these things, what's happening is hot causes the blood vessels to open more. Good. Hot causes the blood vessels to open more. Cold causes it to constrict. So when you do the hot in the shower, this is what's going to happen to your blood vessels. Your blood vessels right here, this is what it normally looks like. Whenever you apply heat to the body, this is what's going to happen. So guess what's going to happen if you have high blood pressure and you're under the hot? It's going to help that blood pressure go through much easier, right? The opposite is also true. If it is cold, look at what happens. Vasoconstriction. So if you're at dangerous levels as it relates to your blood pressure, don't do this. If your blood pressure is too high, don't do it. Because the constriction is going to cause a momentary elevation of the blood pressure. And then obviously that could be a concern. But again, if your blood pressure is in your 140s or 150s, you're fine. You can do this. You can do this with no problem. But if your blood pressure is like in 190s, 200, don't do it. Just skip it. All right, we'll do a different program. All right. We're down to our last one, which is nutrition. Food. Food is your medicine, family. What do we learn about nutrition here? As alluded to earlier, nutrition plays an essential role in the regulation of optimal immunological response by providing adequate nutrients in sufficient concentrations to the immune cells. The more you eat healthy, you will see how the food will literally boost your immune system. That's why, again, we encourage you to eat more plant sources, eat more plant-based food. That's why this coming Sunday, what time, by the way, on Sunday for our cooking class? Yeah. 2 p.m. 2 p.m. on Sunday. So if some of you are in church or what have you, hopefully you'll be done by then. And then you can join us at 2 o'clock on Sunday. We're going to have a healthy plant-based cuisine cooking class. We're going to make food for you. This is where you'll meet my bride from my side, my wife, Alexandra. And she's going to go ahead and she's going to make some pretty awesome food for you. And that way you get to try it. We're going to have a dessert. We're going to have a meat alternative. We're going to have an egg replacement. We're going to have some cheeses. And then, of course, you're going to have some salad dressings because we got to eat our salads. So with all of that's going to be made on this Sunday. So my hope and prayer is that you all could be here for that. And we'll show you how you can literally make food that doesn't take a long time, by the way. And now you're controlling the ingredients and you're loading your body up with nutrition, food that's living. Let's go ahead and close it out. Herbal treatments are also very important. There are certain herbs that are very good for our immune system. Here's some of them. Black elderberry or elderberry syrup. This is something that you can get. If you want to fill your cupboard up with some simple natural remedies that can help boost the immune system, elderberry is very good. In addition to elderberry, another one is called echinacea. Echinacea is very, very good. Another one is called golden seal. Very, very good. And then one last one, how could we not put this one up? Oil of oregano. These are great herbs for helping to build up the immune system. I want to show you very quickly. Please remember, always talk with your doctor before taking herbal supplements. Always talk with your doctor. Now, as we get ready to go through our final phase, there's going to be a demo that I want to do with you all in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to give you a quick little history. We just got ravaged, our whole entire nation, as well as our world, with something that came by called the coronavirus. Is that right? This thing was a problem, okay? And it affected some communities more than others, especially in Black communities. It was very bad, and it caused a lot of lives to be lost. And this was obviously a very sad thing. A lot of people have different views about COVID-19, et cetera. I'm not here to get caught up into all of the different views. But one thing we know for sure is that ever since it came, our world changed. Well, here's the deal. When this happened, I want to give us a reminder of something. Here's your reminder. Past flu pandemics, there were several of them. There was one that was called the Spanish flu, H1N1. That was in 1918. That had 20 to 40 million deaths worldwide, and it had 675,000 people who died in the US. Now, this was still the worst that ever hit our world because it killed 40 million people. All right, even COVID didn't do that, thank God. So this was one of the worst that ever hit our world that we know of, that's recorded. The next one was the 1957 Asian flu, H2N2. That one had a worldwide death toll of 1 to 4 million people, 70,000 in the US. Then you had the 1968 Hong Kong flu, H3N2. That had 1 to 4 million deaths worldwide, 34,000 in the US. There was something that was done that I think this is important for you all to know. There was an organization there was a group of institutes called sanitariums. They were existing and they were largely associated with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And what sanitariums were is they were ministering to people's physical needs, but they were not providing regular medications. They were actually using simple natural remedies and things of that nature. I want you to watch this. One of these individuals by the name of Dr. W.A. Rubel, he recorded some of the impact of some of this research. And I want you to see what he found here. W.A. Rubel was the secretary of the General Conference of Medical Missionary Work at that time. When the 1918 Spanish flu hit, which was the worst flu pandemic, worse than COVID, when it hit our world, there were 3 areas in the US that responded to it. The United States Army, right here, the United States Army, outpatient hospitals, and then 10 of the Seventh-day Adventist sanitariums. So what they did was they did a comparison of mortality rates, like how many people died. So when they looked at the United States Army, they found that it was right at about 16%. They had a 16% mortality rate. 16% of the people who went to the US Army died. 84% lived. Okay? Well, then they looked at the outpatient hospitals. They did better. The outpatient hospitals had about an 8% mortality rate. So 8% of the people died, 92% of the people lived. But then they looked at the sanitariums and they wanted to see how did the sanitariums do when individuals came to them suffering from the same deadly disease, the Spanish flu. Here's what they found. Only 1% of people died who came to the sanitariums. The sanitariums, their treatment of the disease was superior to anything else that the United States of America could offer. What was it that they were doing in these sanitariums? In other words, why was sanitarium therapy superior? This is actually a picture of one of the sanitariums where they were doing their exercise every morning. And, one of the things, when they asked the question, why was sanitarium therapy superior? Here's what they found. They did more hydrotherapy treatment, better diet because they put everybody on plant-based foods, better and more, they prioritized getting sleep. Have any of you ever been hospitalized and had to stay overnight? Mm-hmm. Isn't that like the worst experience in the world?
Yes.
I mean, seriously, it's like just when your body starts to get ready to go to sleep. I remember when, post my surgery, man, I'm in the bed and the surgery, I'm just trying to get some sleep. A brother finally can get some sleep. And next thing you know, I'm like this and I'm like, oh, I feel myself going to sleep. And I felt myself going, and all of a sudden, and some alarm is going off. And I'm like, where's my button? And I'm grabbing my button and calling my nurse. I'm like, can you cut that thing off? I'm so sorry, sir. We can't cut it off. And I said, what do you mean you can't cut it off? And so it was just virtually impossible for me to get a good night's sleep. So, I'm just, forgive me for venting. I just had that venting moment. Thank you for allowing me to vent. But the truth of the matter is that in the sanitariums, they prioritize getting good regular sleep. Less stress because all sanitariums were in the country. None of them were in the cities. So they were always in beautiful country areas, right? Surrounded by nature. Less chilling because they showed the people how to dress. They would cover their limbs. They would show them that naked arms and naked legs were not good when you're trying to get well. You had to have equal distribution of blood flow through circulation. Then there was better environment because, again, it was out in nature. They addressed the total person, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, as well as the social needs. And then lastly, better medicine, better nursing, more life. All the nurses were basically Christians, so they would pray with people and so on. There were many reasons that the sanitariums were superior because they were following God's plan. And so again, I just want you to see that historically, this worked. Everything that I've been sharing with you all night, it worked. They put it into action during one of the worst flu pandemics that ever hit our world. And it worked. And it's for all of these reasons that, again, I want to encourage you, get on God's plan. How many of us learned something tonight about how we can take care of our immune system? Did we learn some things? Oh yeah, how many of us are willing to go ahead? How many of us are going to go ahead and give that hot and cold shower a try tonight? All right, don't be afraid, class. Y'all can do it. Let me go ahead and bring it to a close. I want us to try something. We're going to do a little natural remedy tonight. Now, let me go ahead and share this with you. I'm just going past these slides. We're going to make something called Nature's Penicillin. Nature's Penicillin. I'm going to ask if you can come on up and help us out here. And this is what we're going to do. So Sister Libby, she's going to help us out to go ahead and do Nature's Penicillin. So I want you to watch this. What are the ingredients for Nature's Penicillin? Let's take a look. Number one grapefruit, 1 orange, 2 lemons, 3 cloves of garlic, 3 drops of peppermint oil, half of a large onion. That's it. Now, I must tell you, and I know this is going to be disappointing to some of us, but some of you cannot try this tonight. Let me tell you why. One of the food groups there that is contraindicating with blood pressure and cholesterol medications is grapefruit. So if you are on cholesterol medication or blood pressure medication or things of that nature, we're not going to recommend that you try this tonight. There is an alternative. There is an alternative that we can show you how to make, but this is only for individuals who are not on blood pressure medication or on any type of statins, okay? If you're not on any of those, then you can go ahead and give this a try and it should be just fine. Now, we're going to ask you to cut them into 1-inch pieces. If it is organic, you can keep the skin on it. If it is not organic, it's probably better to take the skin off. All right? But when you take the skin off, leave the white pith around it, okay? If you're taking it off. All right. We appreciate Libby very much for helping us with this. I had to do this one day. Did you see the instructions here? How many cloves of garlic? 3, right? I just want to do this just in case. Some people don't know the difference between a bulb and a clove. So just to make sure nobody hurts themselves, we're just going to provide some education. This is a bulb. This is a clove. Okay? So when it says 3 cloves, please make sure 3 cloves, not 3 bulbs. All right? If you do 3 bulbs, I'll tell you this, you will never forget it. Okay, so before you cut your fruits, better to roll your fruit, get the juices worked up, cut them into 1-inch pieces, which Libby's already doing, and then put them in the blender. Now, we have a high-powered blender here. which is, you know, a Vitamix, okay? These are really awesome blenders. If you don't have a high-powered blender, it's okay. You're just gonna probably have to add a little water, all right? So you can do the same exact thing, you just add a little water, all right? Now, if your blender's not blending the penicillin, like I said, add some water. Basically, you're gonna pulse it 5 to 10 times and then run it for 45 seconds to 1 minute until it's nice and smooth, okay? This is something you can take whether you are sick with a cold or the flu, or if you want to prevent it. You can actually take this every single day and you can prevent it. You can't overdose on it because it's food. It's just food. You can't OD on it. Now, after it's blended, you can put it in a 32-ounce mason jar and you can put it in the refrigerator. It could literally last a few months. So it lasts a very long time. And you can use it all throughout an entire season, like a winter season. The benefits of using this product are, it helps with colds, strep throat, influenza, respiratory congestion, fevers, and it boosts the immune system, and it contains vitamin C and potassium. So this is a wonderful immune product. You can take this to build up the immune system, to get yourselves nice and strong, or to prepare yourself to keep it away. As a matter of fact, if you really want to not get sick, like seriously, for throughout the season, this whole flu and cold season, I would recommend during the day, take some of your Nature's Penicillin before you leave your house. Every night, do that 3 minutes hot, 30-second cold shower, hot and cold shower, and then go to bed. If you do those two things, you're going to give your immune system such a boost that a lot of things that might try to invade your system will not have success in overtaking your system. All right? So this is just a recommendation. You don't have to do this, but it is something you can do. You can take your Nature's Penicillin in the morning, and then you can go ahead and you can do your hot and cold showers in the evening. Yes, my sister.
What is your serving size?
We're gonna go over that right now. This is just a little bonus here. That's nothing too big. Here we go. How much should you take? If you're 12 or older, you need to take 1 cup a day. But it doesn't mean drink a cup at one time. It means take a tablespoon every 3 to 4 hours. Now, this is if you're sick. Now, if you're not sick, you can take 2 tablespoons of it before you leave the house in the morning, and you can be just fine. And then just keep the rest in the house until you come back home later in the evening. And you can take another 2 tablespoons in the evening. Yep. So that's what you can do with this. And this can work out great for you. All right. So in a moment, once we're done here, it looks like it's coming along great. Once we're done here, we're going to go ahead and blend it up. We have a lot of plastic. We have some plastic spoons, right? Yeah, we got some plastic spoons. So what will happen is Libby will walk around with the container of the blended Nature's Penicillin, and then you just take your spoon and you just take 1 scoop. No double dipping. You're going to take 1 scoop, and then look, you can take it on down and enjoy. We especially want our little children to take it as well and to give it a shot. All right. But that is our Nature's Penicillin. So you can continue, and once you're done, you can go ahead and blend it. Oh, cut them up.
Oh,
1 inch, yeah, take them, put them all in. You're cutting them into 1-inch pieces, and you put it all in. Yep. It was only half of a large onion. That's the only one that's half. Everything else, the whole thing goes in.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So while we're waiting to try our Nature's Penicillin, let's do some Q&A. Any questions that any of us have? Yes, sir. So good to see you, by the way. Uh-huh. For immunity? Yes. Aloe vera is very, very good. It has some antioxidant benefits, so it's very good for immunity. But what aloe vera is especially known for is good gut health. So aloe vera is a really good gut product as well. Now, 70% of our immune system is in the gut, right? So yes, I would think aloe vera would be great to take as far as just overall immunity, but it especially helps with good gut health. All right. But yeah, aloe vera is awesome to take. Any other questions? Yes. You can do cayenne. Cayenne is also a vasodilator. So cayenne is also very good. You don't have to add it to it, but I know some people that want to add cayenne pepper to it. You are more than welcome to do that. Yep. Add cayenne pepper is very good. Say again?
What about turmeric?
Turmeric is also very good. You may or may not want to add it to this, but nevertheless, turmeric is very good. Turmeric is largely used as an anti-inflammatory, right? It helps to keep inflammation levels down. So, yeah, but you can definitely use that. All right, we're almost there.
I had a question.
Yes,
Eh,
ginger is excellent. Ginger is also very good for immunity. Yep. The herbal world is filled with many things of this nature. Yes, sir.
There's, still water is spring water.
Say again,
Still water is spring water.
distilled water or spring water? Are you talking about daily drinking?
Like, no, like, what is like,
Oh, for here? Doesn't matter.
what about daily drinking?
Daily drinking, sooner spring water, not rather than distilled. Yep. It's looking good. Hi. You did, you turned it up high.
One more question. I just put about 2 months production. So that like,
It depends on what it's for, but all of it is very, depends what you take it. You can stop. Awesome. So this is our nature's penicillin. Did you remember to put the peppermint oil in? Perfect. So now that we are done with this, again, I'm putting that caution there, beloved, because I, along with God, want you to prosper and be in health. And so because of that, if you are on statins, cholesterol medication, if you are on hypertensive medication, if you are on cancer medication, if you're having any of those medications, I'm gonna ask you to forego this one because it really can have a contraindicating. I didn't put it up on the screen, but some of the things that can happen if you take it are very bad. Like, we could send you to the ER tonight. So I don't want that to happen to you. So that's the only reason why I'm recommending, if you know you're on those medications, just let it pass by, all right? But outside of that, you are welcome to grab a tablespoon and go ahead and give it a try. And I trust that it will be a blessing to you. Yes, sir. The alternative for the grapefruit is to not include it. Yeah, seriously, just don't put it in. Just don't put it in. Or there's something that we call rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is another product that we make. It has more like pineapple and cayenne pepper. It's also a very good immune booster. On Sunday in our cooking class, I'll bring the rocket fuel recipe as well. So then that way we can try that. Yep, you can give that one a try. Say again? Okay. There you go. How you like it? There you go, man. I was about to say, it's kind of clearing up your nostrils, right? Especially with that peppermint oil.
How did our, Netflix patients follow up with the?
Kind of like what you said earlier. Kind of like what you said earlier. Sometimes it affects right here.
Well, we know that there was an issue, because of what was brought up at the two general companies. They went, to be talked about,
Yeah.
they had, they took government money.
Mhm.
It was substantial.
Yep.
I go, once you take something, government money.
Yeah, be quiet. Yep. It's very unfortunate. Do you know that during COVID, before there was a vaccine, they did a test on 240 individuals who took 6,000 to 8,000 milligrams of turmeric, curcumin. And in all 240 individuals, it completely stopped what's called the cytokine storm. What COVID didn't kill people. It was the impact of it. It was something called cytokine, the cytokine storm. It was like a way the body would respond. And for those who did the multi-thousands of milligrams, they actually saw that it didn't impact them if they did that. And I was wondering, I said, man, why don't they tell everybody to take turmeric? But you know, they felt it wasn't enough individuals, because it was 240. Yes. If someone's on a blood thinner, no, it wouldn't be recommended. It wouldn't be recommended.
How much was that? They took?
6,000 to 8,000 milligrams.
That's-
Okay.
It's very easy.
Through the day, Brent?
Yeah, within a day, 6 to 8,000.
Why were so many people suggesting that during COVID? Like, did that?
The person that I heard talk about it most was Dr. Neil Nedley. NAC, because again, NAC was impacting the lungs positively. Because again, what was the concern with COVID was the cytokine storm that was affecting the respiratory system, which includes your lungs. So as a result of that, NAC was another herb that was proven to promote good respiratory health. And that's why it was in a lot of the protocols before the vaccine came out. Everybody was like, get on NAC, get on NAC, get on NAC. There were even studies from Loma Linda with Dr. Zeno where they showed activated charcoal was helping people.
Yeah.
Yep. So before the vaccine, people were very much looking, but I guess once the vaccine came, I guess they stopped looking.
So that's probably what those medications that they gave back in the Spanish flu.
Yep. Yep.
So that, saying medications is not the same as today.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's not, well, publicized.
No, it's not. Because again, remember, the love of money is still the root of all evil.
But our people should not take it out as this is what they did.
I agree.
How do we-
And some of us were, but not enough of us. Some of us were, but it wasn't enough of us.
There's a lot of mess.
Yes, sir.
What's the effect of like colloidal silver? Oh,
I'm not an advocate of colloidal silver. That thing was turning people blue.
yeah.
I'm like, anything that's gonna turn me blue, I'm like, no. We're gonna pass on that one. So, yeah, but I mean, I know some people who did take colloidal silver and it actually helped them, some certain ways. But sometimes what we don't realize is when we take certain remedies, you could be helped in spite of the remedy. It could just be the body just responding well because of other stuff you did, but we're giving the remedy the credit for it. So, I myself, I know that there are some reports on colloidal silver being good, but I'm not at a place that I want to advocate it myself, yeah.
Yeah, what
It's a
else?
bit suspect. Say again?
What else were they taking?
That's the thing, because if you're taking colloidal silver, but you're taking 4 or 5 other remedies, maybe it was the 4 or 5 other remedies. Why are we giving colloidal silver all the credit? So that's an issue. Yes, my sister. Which screen? On before this one? That? Okay. There we go.
Oh, that's the enzyme to start.
Mhm. All right, boys, come on, y'all can take it. There you go, brave young men, yes. Take her down, there you go. Yes. I'm so proud of these young people. Sometimes the bitter, the better, yes. It is, and it might just be the fruit. I'm not sure what made it taste the way it did, but yeah, some of them are stronger. So, Libby, did you keep the skin on?
No.
Oh, you took the skin off? That's a big one. The skin was off. It always tastes stronger with the skin on it. And so that's why we recommend when you're making nature's penicillin, if you can, get organic grapefruit orange, so you can keep the skin on it. Because there's a lot of nutrients in the skin. So if you could do it that way and then blend it with all the skin on it, it's even more potent. And yes, it will actually be a little bit more bitter, but as the saying says, the more bitter, the better. All right? Yes.
So I actually got a juicer and I follow this guy called Discount Juicers.
Yes.
And he said you can blend a whole pomegranate because it have like with the outside skin as well.
Really?
But I drank it was so bitter, it basically cleaned me out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if I would have did that. I wish you could have called me, brother. I'd have been like, don't do it.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a couple more questions, then we're gonna wrap it up. I wanna let you go home. Yes.
This is just fruits. Why is it bad for cancer patients?
It's not bad for cancer patients. What makes it a concern is the medication. So if the cancer patient is on medications, there are certain ingredients between the food groups and the medication that they don't blend well together. Some food groups, like some of the things that are in here, can have a bit of an anticoagulant impact. So if somebody is already on blood thinners like Coumadin or warfarin or high dose aspirin or any of those, or DOACs, if they're taking any of those type of drug medications, plus taking that can tip them over and make their blood so thin that if they just bump their hand like this, they're gonna start bleeding. Or if they brush their teeth, they're gonna start bleeding and they're gonna become symptomatic. So it's for those reasons that they say, don't mix it. It's the medication. It's not so much the patient, like hypertensive, high cholesterol, cancer, but it's the medication. That's the issue. Yeah. Yes, my sister.
The 81 milligram aspirin, okay, take it with that.
I don't think so. 81 milligrams is low dose. Yeah, 81 milligrams is low dose. So that's not an issue. Yep. All right, family. Well, listen, we learned some good things. How many of y'all like your Nature's Penicillin? Did you like it? Well, I'm glad you took it. This is something you can make. This is something we can do to kind of get us through this winter season that's coming up. Keep our bodies nice and strong. Give that hot and cold shower tonight. Get yourself a good night's rest. Allow me to pray for you very quickly, and then I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening, okay? Let's pray together, family. Our Father in heaven, I just want to thank you so much for the blessing of all of us being together. We have learned so much about this amazing army within the immune system and so many ways that we can keep it strong, that we can be of greater service for you and for our fellow man. Continue to bless us, I pray, and keep us, and thank you for these privileges that we are learning. Help us to continue to put these things into practice, for the blessing is in the doing. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Please remember, tomorrow we're going to meet with all of us who have diabetes at 6 o'clock. We're going to meet in the gathering room over here through this door all the way to my left at 6 o'clock. We're going to meet to talk about diabetes and what are some things we can do. This is our group consultation. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at 6. For those of us who are coming for our 7 o'clock presentation, tomorrow night's subject, diet and the mind. If you know people who are going through anxiety, personality disorder, depression, etc., have them come on out. This is going to be the meeting for them. All right. I look forward to seeing you all. God bless you. Have a